Hi, I'm Gus Chikala, project management expert, and today's topic is resource management, the keystone of project and portfolio management. And the reason I like to use this word, the keystone, first of all, I was born in Pennsylvania, which is our keystone state. But if you really think about what a keystone does, it holds together an arch, right? Back in the day when they were building castles from stone, the keystone was the key stone to hold these sides together. And so we use this same concept in portfolio and project management from the standpoint that this topic of resource management is the common bond and the value on both the project management side and the portfolio management side. So let's talk about that. What do we mean by that? Well, here's what happens, right? A portfolio is really a plan for change, right? A portfolio is a strategy to take an organization to a new future, to achieve its vision, to achieve its mission. Okay, so this is important, right? So if I'm sitting in the portfolio world and I'm an executive, I'm not necessarily too concerned about the execution of projects at the point of execution, right? I care about the benefits being realized, okay? But sometimes that doesn't happen. Sometimes projects don't deliver the expected benefits. So think about how this happens, right? If we're going to build a project plan, and let's just do a simple work breakdown structure with some phases and some details underneath it with activities, right? So that's the foundation of a schedule, or what we would call an approach or a methodology that I would call solution delivery, right? And I call it solution delivery because what does a solution do? It solves a problem, right? The root of solution is a solving of a problem that we need to change to get our business into the right future that we're looking for, okay? So that's why Project Assistance, our company, says our mission is to deliver the future into the present, but that doesn't always happen. Sometimes the benefits are not seen based on the investment in the portfolio. So the question is, why did we not see the benefit? What happened? So the people here who may not want to know what's in the gory details of how we deliver a project, what we learn is a lot of project methodologies are using tools that have solution delivery approaches, which are essentially the outline of how you build a solution, how you build a submarine, how you build a new drug to get to pass through the FDA, how do we build an IT system, how do we build a fighter jet, how do we build a 50-story steel structure to put up a skyscraper, right? So these are methodologies that are really engineered to solve problems. So that's what we see. If we see a schedule, we see milestones in here, that we completed the design, that we built something, that we tested it, that we implemented, okay? But here's what happens. We missed the schedule. And when we start double clicking and say, why did we miss the schedule? Why did we not meet the plan for change? Why was it late? Or why did it completely fail to see the benefit? A lot of times when we double click on this and we say, why did we not know the date to a level of accuracy? And the real answer to that is the idea of estimation. To estimate a scheduled date in a project assumes that I know who's going to do the work and how much work they're going to have to do. Okay? So if you use a tool like a Microsoft Project or a PlanView or a Primavera, Clarity, any of those tools out there, there's going to be some way to enter labor or work that really is demand on my limited resources. Okay? I've got limitations. I call it a warehouse of breathing widgets, right? We need to put people and materials, but we're talking about people at the moment, the context of resources of people. we need to understand how much of demand of the labor and work. How are we going to put that equation together in such a way that we understand exactly how much effort, how much availability or capacity versus demand? Okay, so if we don't know how much capacity we have to meet the demand in the entire portfolio, in which these resources oftentimes are shared across many initiatives, it gets pretty tricky. I mean, even if you look at what this technology can do, like a Microsoft project, yes, you can put something into work, and it's a lot of work to put that work and to keep it up to date for all the assignments across here. However, what we find is when we ask the question, why did we not meet the dates? A lot of times it says we didn't have available capacity. Even if we knew what the demand was, even if we had a great estimation methodology, the question is, did we really have the available capacity? Did we even, and here's the other problem, did the project change? So you go through all the gory detail of assigning resources, and now we find out that something has changed, and now we've got to update the demand, shift the capacity, and it's a very complicated portfolio. It's a lot of effort to do this. Now, if we do it and we don't have an estimating methodology, that's a problem. So what's happening over here on the portfolio side? On the portfolio side, the question is, why did we miss? And we said we don't have enough resources. So guess what? We understand on the portfolio side that we can't really trust the dashboards, I'll say, the executive presentation that says everything's green light over here and all the milestones are in good shape, and all of a sudden we find out as we get closer to the end of the project that these things start to slip out into the future. Okay? So the portfolio management side of this eventually understands that we will not get benefits realization if we don't do a good job of managing our demand against capacity down to a pretty fine level of detail. So what does that mean? There are demands from the portfolio world into the project execution world that says we have to do this pretty well. And here's the problem. To get the rigor of resource management, I just said a lot of things that have to happen and not really a whole lot about the sort of sequencing, right? Do we have the solution delivery approaches documented? How do we deal with the modifications of a standard methodology that's really doing some kind of a unique version? Every project is unique. So how do we have this information, right? Do we have the solution architects that really solve and engineer the deliverables that are coming out of this project? How about the method? So that's one component that has to be relatively mature. Different flavors of different projects and different standards to give us that engineered, this engineered product that doesn't have defects. The other thing is estimation is very time consuming, right? So this is really an ROI question. We know that the more rigor you put into the resource management process, the greater accuracy we will have to understand if we're going to meet the milestones that we committed to, and that we're actually going to be able to deliver and realize the benefits of the investment of the strategy that we're trying to implement in our organization. Okay, so one of the investments here is, if we're going to have an estimating methodology that not only just plugs a number into my demand, but has some basis in reality that's defensible, that's accurate, that's not off by 200%, that's a big step. It's a very big step, and that requires the engineers and the project managers to work together to use a useful estimation methodology. The other thing is the time it takes for the changes that happen themselves in the schedule the shifting of capacity. And not only that, when we talk about capacity, there's different flavors of that. Are we talking just about roles? Are we saying how many design engineers do we have? Or are we talking about we've got John and Joe and Sue and Joanne, and are we looking at named resources, right? So some organizations will start with roles and go down to named resources. The other question is, what level of granularity are we going to have on how we break down the estimation across the schedule? Are we looking at named resources by day, by week, by month, by quarter? So typically, what's involved in this resource management is a transformation of an organization, right? To get benefits realization, there are a number of sophisticated changes in an organization to really get to that benefits realization, and to really understand whether a project should even continue, not only because we do or don't have the capacity, but also do we really have a good enough understanding of the problem statement, and that we're engineering a real benefit that maybe has changed during the time that this project was approved. Okay, so there's another question about, can we know not only the resource management, but by being at that level of detail, would we have the capability to actually have a process to stop a project? Right, that it either can't be resourced or it can't reach the benefits that were expected. That how do we stop that, right? So resource management is the keystone between portfolio management and project management, because it matters on both sides. So if you want some more information on this, we have a link below that you can click on. There's some slides out there that break this down into some more detail. We have some do's and don'ts. We didn't get a lot into the strategy today. We have another video on change. We call it changing the way you change. How do you change an organization? How it delivers strategy by getting better at project management. So we have some more information over there about the organizational change side of this. So hopefully you got something out of this. We have more detail out there. I appreciate your time. I'm Gus Chikala, project management expert.